Start of the new week, guys. First things first, shout out to these stream sponsors, CoinCatch and Breakout Prop. They are probably some of the better ones in the industry. I think CoinCatch has a great amount of listings built on BitGet's liquidity, which is really good. Not the biggest exchange, but I kind of like that. Also, Breakout Prop, definitely one of the best prop firms in the crypto industry. So shout out to those guys as well. Going to be doing another evaluation giveaway this month. So let's just dive right into NPOC levels here. We did have two setups from our last live stream, guys. We had the long and we had the short. We did not run up to that 98407 NPOC, leaving it open. Now, that's a good thing for me, right? That's what I kind of wanted. I did not want us to run to this first. I don't think I have it up here, but I did talk about us just kind of ranging in this area, kind of cleaning out these NPOC levels, right? And what happened over the weekend? Well, we got two new NPOC prints to the upside. So again, that's a good thing, meaning that I do think that we will get to retest those at some point. So ideally, what we'd like to see is a retest down here at that 91,285, and then you can get that next leg higher to close out all those NPOC levels, right? So that's the way that I like to use NPOC levels and range trading. You know, you don't have to catch every single trade, but plan the trade, patience for the trade, execute the trade. Those are the three rules that I think can create a good profitable trade, right? So that's kind of what we're looking for on BTC, right? So nothing too out of the ordinary. This is still kind of a short area, right? You know, I didn't take the short, but this NPOC level here at that 95785 was a short. And then again, wanting that 98407. Now, in the live stream last week, we did talk about potentially hedging in this area if you wanted to, right? I didn't really want to. I still had a hedge on from higher, but again, I cleaned that account. I pulled the profits off that account and we're starting brand new. So I may be a little bit more active with hedges. I may be active more with shorts. I may be more active with just kind of trading in general, as I am in a couple of altcoin positions right now that are currently down, but again, not freaking out. They're not overexposed positions. I am still willing to add to those positions and still willing to hold to those positions, right? So that's kind of my mindset going forward. I'm not the type of trader that sees a little bit of red and freaks out, closes it, and then moves on, right? I let the play work out, right? We wanted lower on BTC. Well, unfortunately, when you want lower on BTC, that does mean that altcoins are going to go lower too, right? So you got to be in that mindset and you got to know that. You can't be taking an altcoin position long and then BTC going down and expecting the altcoin to go up. It's just not that environment right now. Really, we're still at the mercy of Bitcoin. I still think Bitcoin dominance is key, Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? And I did talk to a couple people this weekend and they made a couple good points where crypto has kind of gone from a few coins to like millions and millions of coins over the years, right? And I think once a lot of TradeFi is getting involved, it's going to kind of shrink down to maybe like 100, 150 cryptos that are really going to be the best performers. So as of right now on NPOC levels, it's very straightforward. Some NPOC prints to the upside, and I just think we range between 91 and 98K, and that would be a good trading area to kind of continue to focus on, right? You know, we do have like this area of support down here at that 91 from previously in January of 2025. So, you know, we kind of broke above that support and now we're going to probably retest, maybe head back down to that 91 and then a next move higher. That's the way that I'm going to play it. That's the way that I'm watching it. So that's really what we're looking for on BTC. You know, we do have these NPOCs down here at 82 and 83K. I don't know. Obviously, you want to be prepared for them. If we retest those levels, I do think that we have longs down there, but at the same time, that is a lot of momentum kind of lost, right? If we did kind of have this impulse move literally almost to 100K and then retest 83K, it's a great trading range, but obviously I don't want to be retesting the low 80K levels unless you're kind of short right now, which personally I am not. So don't want that retest. If it does retest, what do? We still look to be buying that area. The short that we had actually was here. So there was a 326 short that we created. So again, you know, like a month and a half ago, we created this short and it was a short this 95756 area. Again, I don't know if you're taking these shorts or not. You know, for me, it depends. I'm not very short heavy right now, but there's still active trades. You know, this is still an active short entry with a decent hedge. We have the Bitcoin top indicator, which again, we will talk about every Monday, every stream. And I will be letting you guys know like when certain things start to hit in the yellow, when certain things start to hit in the red, right? Most likely I'll start tapering profits off on spot within that time. So I'll be telling you guys, you know, again, this is a free indicator, the Bitcoin top indicator. It's by the proof over on TradingView, and they just have a lot of things calculated in. CVDD, right? You know, MVRV, Z-score. I think that those are really, really good ways to kind of catch cycle tops and cycle bottoms. Again, these are long-term indicators, so you can't really be actively trading this kind of stuff. But again, anchor charts, you want to have like a high-term time frame anchor. You want to have your low-term time frame trading, your setups, your 4-hour, your 3-hour, your 15-minute, that sort of thing. But you need to have an anchor to keep you with a bias. And my bias is still up, right? My bias has always really been up, even through the downside. Even when BTC was kind of selling off with all the tariff shit, all the way down, I was kind of like longing at this NPOC right here at 82. Right, a lot of people were giving me shit when we were dropping to 74, but I was still kind of averaging in at that area, not freaking out because those were my long areas. And look, here we are now at 93 and we're well above my first entry. So that's kind of what I like to think about, going forward, is that's what we trade. And this is what we have as like our anchor, our bias, right? If we have a bias, that means that we don't necessarily need to be trading short side if we don't want to, right? And then, maybe when things start to taper off, we see a little bit of top indicators, then that's when we could be like, okay, now we can start, maybe taking some spot gains, maybe shorting a little bit more, not overthinking it. Nothing to really update. It's the same thing. If we get a retest of 15.81, I'm going to look to be longing that. I think if we lose some structure here though, it could be bad on Ethereum. I think it's wishful thinking wanting a 1580 retest, but then also I'm not going to be pressing heavy there because that structure gets really lost on Ethereum if we retest that 1580 area. So that's going to be an area that I'm going to look to be longing, but it's also going to be an area that I'm like focused on, right? Because I don't want to automatically long it because I want to see how price action is in that area. And where do we watch price action? Well, we watch it on Teal Street, right? We watch the order book, we watch the depth chart, we watch the buys, we watch the momentum when it gets to that area, right? So that's what I like to teach and talk to you guys about. You don't have to automatically buy NPOC levels, but it's important to focus on that price action that's happening there, right? So if we retest 1580, I will definitely be pulling Teal Street up and be watching momentum, because you can really catch if there's big buyers in that area or, big sellers in that area. So that's what I'm looking for. Again, very, very straightforward on Ethereum. 1580 retest is what I want, and then the short is still higher. Not going to hedge until we get back above 2000. When does it happen? I don't know, but I still think Ethereum has some of the best room for upside. I know like it's so cringe to continue to say that, and I know it's probably like, oh fuck this guy, he's been long in Ethereum for 2 years, but it will have his time. I know what Ethereum can do and produce. Not only that, but fucking everything is built on Ethereum, man. It's so frustrating because nothing's really changed. Like, it's annoying. I don't want to talk about it. NPOC levels, this is what we're talking about, guys. Just really in a no trade zone. If I want a long, I'm going to have a little more patience. If I'm going to short, I'm going to have a little more patience. Remember, guys, it's very important to remember those 3 steps. Create the game plan, which is what we're doing, right? This is what we did on Ethereum. Have patience for that game plan, right? That means wait for price to come to our entry level. Create an entry level. Let your entry come to you. Don't force an entry. Then we execute once price gets there, right? Once price starts to drop to 1580, then that's when we look to long. You gotta execute though. That's so key. People will do 1 and 2 great, but then the third one, they'll kind of fall apart. And I try and keep it as simple as I can for you guys, but execution is obviously the most difficult one. Why is it the most difficult one? Because it's the one that psychologically fucks you up every single time. Like, should I long here? Should I not long here? Should I go full position size? Should I not go full position size? It's a really tough thing. Trading's hard. It's not easy. So that's kind of why like the 3 steps for me just keeps it very basic. Create, patience, execute, and then just kind of move forward with that. I actually do like BONK. Meme winners I think are going to stick around, right? BONK, Doge. Memes have clearly been around for a long time just with Doge in general. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I just think that there's going to be winners, and then there's going to be everything else that goes to zero. And, I do think BONK is going to be an obvious winner. As far as technical standpoint goes, I do think that this is a decent entry, but, it's such so low price that these movements can really fucking be detrimental sometimes. But yeah, I do like BONK. This is actually a pretty good little retest here because we look at it, rejection, resistance, resistance, break above, retest of that resistance, now turn to support. We can move to the upside. Maybe we take a BONK position together. Let's just jump into BONK, see how it goes. This is one of those real world assets, right? So kind of like a new sector in the industry. Nothing crazy, but again, just a great chart, great range. We're kind of at that lows. This was at that lower limit of about that 67 cents. That was kind of where I think we were looking to kind of long last. Again, I don't think I longed it on leverage. I do hold a lot of spot ONDO, but yeah, I think it's a great play. Retest of this area, great retest. Clear area of demand that wanted a retest of. We got it. And I think, again, ONDO is one of those ones that can fly back to all-time highs. Some of these are just hard, right? So this is going to be one that Obviously, we're gonna have to go into like low term time frame. It's just so beaten down. So what I would do is I just probably go into like the 4 hour on this one and kind of create some. So definitely at a resistance, right? So, for me, where do you want to long this next? Clearly it is kind of getting rejected here. As far as current range trading goes, next area of interest to long would be like this 58. That would be a retest of once resistance, now support, and then it can kind of bounce up from there. So I think a retest of 58 makes sense on Fed to get a position. Again, can take a starter now, can dollar cost average lower once it goes lower, but that's kind of, the way that I'm looking at Fed. Pepe is probably around to stay too. I just think there's too much money to be made on some of these for exchanges to not keep them going. They bring so much volume, but I haven't looked at Pepe in a while. Pepe is tough for me to look at just because of the fumble that I had on it, but I'll just dive into like a 30-minute chart. So yeah, once again, it's like that same kind of setup, right? To where it's like we're kind of retesting an important level for a lot of these altcoins. And frankly, they do need to hold, right? Because if these start to break down, maybe they kind of go off of like some sort of trend like this, but it could be a lot more downside. So it's just kind of that choppy action for BTC and Ethereum right now. And I think it's going to continue to stay that way. I don't think we're going to get a real trend direction for maybe like a week, month. I don't know. Yeah, so I think this was kind of my game plan on it, was kind of at the lows and then, retest some of this area, chop around, maybe have 22 cent, 23 cent resistance, whatever, and then we can get a move back up. My average, I think, on this is like fucking high 30s, damn near fucking down 50% on it, but it's all right because of the good news that I was just told about SEI and the staked ETF. So hopefully it'll fucking pump like SUI at some point. I still think SUI is going to be the biggest winner of the next altcoin cycle. I do. I truly believe that. I truly believe that SUI will get to $10+. When is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? I don't know. A lot of money needs to enter the market. A lot of things need to happen with majors like Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? It's not just going to go there, but I think it is kind of set up the best for that move higher. It did great during a bear market, right? It did great during a downtrend. It was one of the first altcoins to really get that move up with Bitcoin. So it's just kind of giving me all those signs to be like one of the top coins during the next couple like year and a half. And luckily this is one of my biggest bags. So still fucking holding this. I hope you guys had a good weekend. This is only Monday, right? We got another video on Wednesday and another one on Friday. So stick around. We're going to be doing another $500 giveaway this week as well. Stay up to date with the Telegram. Appreciate you guys joining the stream. Thank you so much. Happy Monday. Happy new week of trading. And I'll see you over in the Telegram. Peace out.